private sector left to itself has never led to industrialization, except in maybe Hong Kong, perhaps Singapore. And elsewhere, or at least to be precise, not since the original industrial revolution. In industrialization in what we now call developing countries, where that's been successful, the state has always played an active role. But it doesn't mean the state has to own lots of factories. It means the state has to provide an enabling environment to facilitate the private sector in industrializing, pursuing that. It doesn't mean there's no role for state enterprise, but the most important things the state can do are to do with the environment. In South Korea, the government agreed targets for manufacturing firms to export a certain amount by such and such a date. And it was actually quite ruthless in withdrawing subsidies if the firms failed to meet their targets. That may or may not be politically feasible, because it's a hard thing to sustain politically when you have invested in factories, and if you suddenly say, well, they're losing money, we're going to close them down, the government may pay at the ballot box for that. But that was a very successful policy. So I would distinguish between the government actually owning factories, which I think is largely unnecessary in most cases, and the vital role that governments can play in supporting industrialization, including in thinking about what is possible within the World Trade Organization's restrictions, and to try to make sure and work with business leaders to make sure that those possibilities within the WTO for particularly developing exports are sustained. And again, also promote one thing I didn't have time to say. I think it's very important that ECOWAS becomes much more effective as an economic union, because the markets in individual countries, even Nigeria, are too small. And so far ECOWAS, of course, is a very effective security organization, but so far I think it's not nearly so effective as an economic organization, despite its name.